someone with more experience.
It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than all of us.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye.
Sir, you're charged
I was told
with
counsel wanted to see me
especially
in
aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy, do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
This is the next search on February 28, 2020. 7:44 p.m. How, does the FBI find people? And people's misspelled P-E-O-O-P-L-E.
I object.
Did the defendant find out how the FBI finds people in this case? Oh, she found out.
What more do you need to see?
Because we here in Canada hate you and hope for bad things for you because we hate you.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and I've been reading my favorite magazine, TV Technology. Not a sponsor. Not a sponsor. This is the if there's a I'm sorry. I was going to make an analogy. I'm not going to.
I was told counsel wanted to see me attack.
There's a certain issue. There's a certain issue of TV Technology, which is a monthly publication, which I like better than all the rest, and this is the one. So when I found that it came and arrived in the mail today and it had been put straight in the bin, I immediately retrieved it before it got soiled by any other refuse, and I'm now salivating over pictures of technology, which are amazing. I mean, pan-tilt zoom cameras. You've got like competitors, new live views, soundboards, speaker systems, tripods, new technology and wireless mics that are coming out. Some great stuff. Portable monitors, Hive linked cameras, more PTZs. Oh man, there's just so much stuff here. Wireless video transmission
podiums, Your Honor.
with almost zero latency. Gimbals. I will be looking at this magazine for a while now. We're gonna save that one on the save shelf. I love that one. Let's see. First of all, well, a couple things. First, let's get chat on the screen. Lacey Spano, 19 months of being a part of an amazing community.
Semantics here.
I love all of you. It feels so special to be here. We're so close to 2 years. Woohoo! Lacey, we know you're an OG. Welcome. So excited to have you here. Let's see. Regina, I'll allow it. Crawford, first in chat today. We're going to send you to internet ownership. So you're responsible for everything IP related worldwide. At least until we go live again tomorrow morning. Short week today, by the way. Short week. Can we get a quick recap from this morning as I missed it? Oh, yes, DNA. DNA is DNA. You get half from your mom, half from your dad. John had DNA. His DNA was on his stuff, as well as a couple other people's and including maybe Proctor's. But we didn't test everybody else, so we don't know whose DNA. It was just maybe some other people. And he has hair, and other people who were descendants of his mother have hair, and
I was told counsel wanted to see me inside bar.
And there you go. So the hair was found that could have been someone from any of the descendants of his mother. That's all. Oh, wait. And then, of course, there was one little bit that we tested all the chips on the Lexus. We found more information. We found a chip that was missing that nobody else had found. We put it in our computer, and we put it in a new car that was identical to Karen Reed's in every way, only this one had a taillight that was not broken.
I'm not going to argue about semantics here.
And we've determined that the time clock on the Lexus was 21 to 29 seconds off, and when you shift it, everything matches up and it's perfect. And I can see clearly now the rain is gone, or the snow in this case, as Canton's here. So that's this morning. Yes, we saw Linda Sturmer got LWAP.
Master Ayden.
Master Ayden, how are you doing this afternoon? Welcome.
Good. I want to briefly touch on some things. It does look like the state is bringing on a better case than last time.
Yeah.
I think the hair follicle case did not kind of help the defense with the whole, it could be his nephew, or, I kind of felt like there really wasn't a really good defense for that. But, we still got a lot to go.
Here's the thing. I think the hair came from inside the car, and it came from inside the car when they were opening the doors and getting in and getting out at the Sally Port.
Okay, that could be it.
I feel that way because it flopped around with them just taking pictures of it. Okay? That does not show anchored, glued, sedimented to the car through the remaining minerals in snow and salt and ice. No, it flopped around as they're taking pictures of it in a dry scenario, in a controlled environment. There's no way it stayed on there through a snowstorm, a blizzard. We just saw the car, driving through 2 feet of snow. There's no way it stayed on during that. The hair didn't convince me. The logs and the timestamps, that's another matter.
Yeah, that is true. It kind of seems fishy on both sides. I mean, there's a lot going on here. If we were to prove conspiracy, it's a little harder, but I still think there's some wiggle room there. I mean, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. I'm still struggling to see a grand conspiracy. I don't see
right.
that.
I don't. I think shoddy work at best that you can construe. I mean, because both sides have the right to construe and cause that reasonable doubt. You want to win your case. That's what it's all about. There's always two sides, and then there's the complete truth in the middle. It's tough because, again, both sides have an equal fair shot of saying, it happened this way, it happened that way. And it seems like there's wiggle room for both. So I'm kind of on the fence, but still, on the defense side of things,
I see a bad cop. I see suspicious activity from individuals who are in the witness category, which makes me ask the question, but if it's not related to the crime, it doesn't matter. But it seems like something there's a cover up here. There's a cover up. I don't know what it was. Okay, I don't know if it has anything to do with John O'Keefe's death. There's a cover up, and we're seeing plenty of that.
Yes, there is, and I think that's why the defense has such a strong case. Because if it happened the way you say it did, then why do we have to do all this? Why do we have to go through all of that? Why is Proctor no longer having a job? There's a lot of questions in between. It's like if it's everything you said it was, a full investigation, fair and square, down the middle, to the books, then why is it all this extra? The more you give the defense that sting to say, okay, but how do you explain this or how do you explain that? Again, not grand conspiracy, but shoddy police work at best, where you can construe that as maybe they're getting it wrong and they don't have the evidence.
We know it was poor police efforts. I mean, all the way from the way the investigation was handled all over the place. We see this. We've seen other cases where there's been poor police efforts in investigating. But there's a point where poor crosses the line into bad. Like literally, you would become the bad guy, and that's a line we cannot cross ever. If we cross that line, I don't care what the crime was or who did it or how guilty they are. They should be found not guilty. We can never say the end justifies the means in justice. Okay, the justice system has to be about.
It's not about what happened. It's what you can prove in court. And if there is you cannot within a reasonable doubt prove it in court, you almost have to go not guilty because of the lack of good police work that could have been done. That maybe she did do it. Maybe she did it. But because of the way you handle things, because of the way you police things, you can give the jurors now permission to say, maybe she didn't do it.
Master Ayden, I think we're sort of getting to the same point here. We're getting to the same point.
Oh, okay.
Court just started, so we're going to have to let you go. Thanks for the call. Always good talking to you, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too. I'll call later.
Bye. All right, we are back. We are back. I'm expecting spice today. I'm expecting spice. I had a salad, a tame lunch, just so I didn't get a spice overload. I don't believe that bad police work does not equal.
Court is back in session. You may be seated.
Got two negatives there, and I get lost in them. I believe that if the police planted evidence that they were the bad guy, that the end can never justify the means. We cannot have somebody doing something that is illegal, lying about it under oath to get somebody who's guilty to be found guilty.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Leslie.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Burgess.
Good afternoon. Buckle up, Mr. Burgess.
You spell your first name Shannon with one N. Do I have that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Getting to the good stuff right off the bat.
You describe yourself as a digital forensic examiner, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
You use the term forensics often in your analysis.
Yes, I do.
And would you agree that generally the accepted definition of forensics is something that relates to, that's used in, and is suitable for a court of law?
Yes, I would.
And so when you're working in forensics, even in your office, you understand that eventually it's very likely that whatever work you're working on is going to end up or could end up in a court of law, correct?
Correct.
And you mentioned in your direct examination the scientific method, right?
Correct.
And I was pleased to hear mention of the scientific method. And I just want to cover some principles with regard to the scientific method. But before I do, I just want to see how forensics envelopes in certain items. So forensics applies scientific methods and principles to legal matters, particularly in criminal investigations, right?
Correct.
It's a fair statement.
Yes.
Thank you. And forensics are used to help lawyers in their preparation, correct?
Yes, that would be correct.
And it's used to help judges in courts of law?
Yes, that is correct.
And it's also used to help juries and jurors to understand the results of scientific tests, correct?
Correct.
So you know, and you have to presume that as you are performing your analysis, as I stated earlier, that this information is going to end up in a court of law?
Correct.
And then does that heighten sort of the analysis that you need to do and the sharpness and the accuracy, given that it's going to end up in that form?
It can, depending on context.
And is the primary goal of forensic science to uncover the truth and to provide objective evidence that can be presented in a court?
Yes, it is.
Would you generally agree that the work of forensic science, including the work that you do, is intended to be used in court because scientific evidence can be very powerful and therefore the forensic science must be accurate?
Correct.
It must be methodical?
Correct.
There must be a method, right?
Right.
It must be detailed?
Yes.
And above all, it must be unbiased and truthful, correct?
That is correct.
And all of this, is it fair to say, distills down to reliability?
Correct.
And reliability is a desired characteristic of the forensic scientist.
Yes.
You want people to be able to rely upon your work.
Yes.
And credibility and honesty is part of reliability, and it's a fundamental component of that, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
You've stated that you hold your opinions to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty. You said that several times on direct, correct?
Correct.
And because the discipline of forensics involves the application of the scientific method, as you stated on direct, you therefore, of course, applied the scientific method throughout your analysis, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Would you agree with the following statement of the scientific method? And tell me whether, well, let me start with, you understand, you know the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST?
Yes, I am familiar, yep.
And would you agree with a definition of the scientific method as the systematic pursuit of knowledge involving the recognition and definition of a problem, the collection of data through observation and experimentation, analysis of the data, the formulation, evaluation, and testing of hypotheses, and where possible, the selection of a final hypothesis? I know there's a lot there, and if you'd like me to break any of it down, you let me know.
No, I find that generally acceptable. Yep.
And I wanted to emphasize the end, the evaluation and testing of hypotheses, and where possible, the selection of a final hypothesis. You understand what I'm meaning by hypotheses?
Yes, I do.
The scientific method is used, among other reasons, is it not, to avoid certain biases in the science process, correct?
Yes, correct.
Right. So the method is trying to prevent a scientist, not cultural bias, but scientific bias, correct?
Correct.
Do you know what the American Academy of Forensic Scientists refer to as cognitive biases in science, generally?
No, I do not.
Have you heard of the term confirmation bias?
Yes, I have heard of that term.
Have you heard of the term anchor bias in the scientific method?
I have not heard that term.
Let's start with confirmation bias. Is a fair definition, and you said you're generally familiar with that, right?
Yes, correct.
So let's start with that. That's the practice of sort of selectively gathering and interpreting evidence to confirm the scientist's belief or a belief of another, and at the same time neglecting evidence that contradicts them. Is that a fair definition of confirmation bias?
Yes.
And an example of confirmation bias is not considering alternative hypotheses once an initial hypothesis has been selected, even though the data and other information might contradict the initial hypothesis. Fair statement?
Yes, that's a fair statement.
And confirmation bias, although sometimes it occurs, is intellectually and analytically antithetical to, it's opposing of the scientific method, correct?
Correct, yes.
And it's to be avoided.
Right.
Anchor bias is, and I know you said you didn't recall it, but let me see if this triggers a recollection. If not, fair enough.
Okay.
Anchor bias is when you prioritize information and data that supports your initial impression of the evidence, even where the impressions are incorrect or it's unknown impression is incorrect. You sort of anchor into that. Does that sound like a reasonable definition of anchor bias?
Yes, that sounds reasonable.
So biases are to be avoided in the application of scientific matters and methods because they can lead to incorrect conclusions in science, right?
Right.
And even though they're to be avoided, you called this case a homicide even before you began your alleged scientific testing. Isn't that correct?
I don't recall. Where would I have called it a homicide?
Do you recall your January 30th, 2025 report that you prepared in this case?
Yes, I do.
Do you have it with you?
I do.
Can you turn to page 4, footnote 3, please?
Yes.
Footnote, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. It is page 4, footnote 3.
Oops.
And in page 4, footnote 3, it states, I'm sorry, sir, are you there?
Yes, I am sorry.
It says evidence review by the defense counsel Ray O'Keefe, MV homicide. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Now, you assumed in the very beginning, that Miss Reed had hit Mr. O'Keefe with her car before you began the scientific testing that you had discussed in your direct.
No, that would be incorrect.
But you did list homicide down in footnote 3, correct?
Yes, I did.
And so this report's drafted January 30th, 2025, correct?
Correct.
And the testing, I'll just give you a snapshot, some of the testing you discussed with Mr. Brennan, that testing didn't occur until after this trial started, correct? Some of the testing you described in direct?
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay, so that testing didn't even occur in the trial. Just assume the trial started at April 22nd. So the testing you described when you were talking about aligning clocks and GPS, that occurred after April 22nd, correct?
Correct, it did.
Now let's go on to another topic. Let's talk about professional credentials. You know what I mean by the term credentials?
Amber,
yes,
here you
I
go.
do.
Here you go. This is what Amber wants.
Professional credentials are important in any profession, correct?
Correct.
And they're important in your forensic examiner profession as well.
Correct.
Your forensic scientists and examiners are no different than any other professional, that credentials are important. And your profession requires you to provide curriculum vitae laying out your education, training, and background, correct?
Correct.
And it's imperative, is it not, that the information that is disseminated about your professional credentials are absolutely truthful, right?
Yes, they should be.
You say they should be. Let's continue on with that topic. You understand what's meant by the term ethics, right, generally?
Yes, yes.
And simple ethics mandate that one is truthful about their professional credentials, correct?
Correct.
And a fundamental credential is what type of college degree you hold, correct?
Correct.
People rely on those credentials, and the credentials are the foundation of your expert opinions and analyses, correct?
They can be, yes.
They can be, and they often are, correct?
Yes, they can be, depending on context.
But more often than not, they're important.
Yes, again, depending on context.
You know that not only your colleagues, but your clients, your firm clients, courts, and juries will rely on your CV and your credentials in order to make determinations about whether you're qualified to testify and your depth of your qualifications, correct?
Correct.
You provided the Commonwealth, the defense, and the court with your CV in this case, correct?
Correct.
Mr. Leslie can't leave that microphone alone. He keeps hitting with his paper, his hands.
You can have a moment, Your Honor. I will
Yes.
get my first exhibits.
We're getting to the "you lied on your CV" line. He's already shifted a bit uncomfortably in his chair. He knows what's coming. He's talked about context to try to put everything in perspective. Viewed differently. The water is not going to save you.
Welcome. May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Your Honor, if I could have this marked as the next exhibit.
For identification?
For identification at this point.
Okay.
Well, actually, I'm going to have it off. I'm going to be eventually offering it into evidence. So,
Okay.
May I present it to the witness?
So let's mark it for identification first.
Yep, okay.
Exhibit TT for identification.
He's dragging this out. Let's mark it. Actually, this is going to go to the jurors. Look at Mr. Alessi. He's pretty happy with this. Witness, not so much.
May I present it to the witness?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Burgess,
Yes.
I am presenting you with exhibit.
TT for identification.
I was, thank you, Your Honor. I'm learning not to talk while I'm walking backwards so Madam Court Reporter can hear me. So I'm presenting you with what is exhibit TT for identification. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
And what is that document?
So this document appears to be my CV.
May I approach further?
Yes.
Thank you. And is that CV a document that you have prepared?
Yes, so that is a document that either I have prepared or the company Apter has prepared.
And is that a fair and accurate document?
It appears to be.
Your Honor, I offer that into evidence.
Any objections, Mr. Brennan?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
And if you could just, if you Honor, if I have the witness hold it, I have some
Hold
questions.
on, let's let it mark first.
Yes.
Sure.
Yep.
Exhibit 183.
You need to have a good answer for this. Because
Thank you.
your CV to a court as an expert witness is your credentials. He's already partially thrown his company under the bus that Accenture prepared.
Mr. Burgess, you have in front of you your CV that we just spoke about, and I'd ask you please to draw your attention to the education section where underneath in red it says BGS, and then, do I read it correctly? It says Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, University of Alabama - Birmingham, Alabama - currently pursuing. Did I read that correctly?
You did read that correctly.
Thank you, sir. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Like this mark is the next for identification only at this point. Oh, excuse me, can I have that back one? Show Mr. Brown.
So he's still pursuing his bachelor's?
Sure.
Judge is flipping through a couple exhibits going, CV stands for curriculum vitae, commonly referred to as a resume,
Yes.
but it's more educational.
Well, I'm going to
experience
actually have it marked for identification first,
Okay.
and we'll go from there.
Exhibit UU for ID.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Burgess, it's been marked, the document is Exhibit UU for identification. Could you please tell me if you recognize that?
Yes, I do recognize that.
And sir, please describe briefly what that is.
Sure. So it is a CV as well.
Thank you. I would offer it into evidence at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Brennan, any objection?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Brennan's just owning up. He's like, we've got to take this.
Exhibit 184.
We got caught with our pants down. We've got to be like, yep, sorry, that was us, and then move on.
Thank you. I present it back to the witness, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Burgess, once you've had a fair opportunity to look at that, I have a question, and that question is simple. Is that your April 2025 CV?
Let me see. Yes, it appears to be.
Thank you. And when you've had a fair opportunity to look at it, when you can just pick your head up, sir, to let me know you're ready. I don't want to rush you, but then I have some questions.
Absolutely.
Thank
Go ahead.
you. So, In those two exhibits, your two CVs in front of you, am I correct that the first one is November 2024 and the second one is April 2025?
Let me see. Yes, that appears to be correct.
In both of those CVs, you indicate that you have not yet earned a bachelor's degree.
That is correct.
And you certainly have not earned a Bachelor of Science degree in any educational field according to those two CVs, right?
Correct.
And in fact, as you sit here today, you do not possess any bachelor's degree.
Correct.
And the reason, as you state, is because that bachelor's degree is currently pending. That's the term you use.
So I use currently pursuing.
Currently pursuing, yes. So you have a public profile that's published on Aperture's website, correct?
Yes, I do.
And it's in the form of a biography page?
Yes, I believe so.
And that biography page has your education listed?
Very possible, yes.
May I approach your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. If I could have this marked, please, once Mr. Brennan reviews it.
Let's see. Shannon Burgess. Education. Shows bachelor's degree in mathematics and business administration, an associate's degree in computer networking.
Thank you. Your Honor, may I have this marked as next identification in order?
Okay.
Thank you.
Exhibit BB for ID.
May I hand it to the witness?
Yes.
Now Mr. Burge has given you Exhibit DB for identification.
Okay.
You recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
And indeed, that is the bio page that's published on Aperture's website, correct?
That is what it appears to be, yes.
Now, I would like you, sir, to turn to page 2 of that document.
Okay.
And I'd like to turn your focus to the bottom of education heading. It states, am I correct, sir, BS, Mathematics, and Business Administration. Is that correct?
It does state that, yes.
And there is no qualification that's currently pending. It states BS in Mathematics and Business Administration, correct?
That's what it states there, yes.
And you do not have a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, do you?
No, I do not.
And if you click on the hyperlink for your CV on that same website, do you know where that hyperlink takes you?
No, I do not.
To any member of the public reading this, including prosecutor, a defense attorney, a judge, or a jury, that represents that you received your Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, does it not?
Objection. That's sustained, Mr. Wilson.
Now, if you continue on to your photograph, are you familiar with Aperture's website that speaks about you and presents you generally?
Vaguely, yes.
Are you aware that Aperture has two hyperlinks, one that says CV and one says LinkedIn? Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am now.
And
now they are as well.
LinkedIn is a professional networking platform designed for career and business professionals to connect, share content, find jobs, etc. Is that a fair description of LinkedIn?
Yes, it is.
And could we also conclude that it's a professional networking platform, especially for private sector firms like Aperture, that's used to attract clients or potential clients?
Yes, correct.
And potential clients include, for example, the Commonwealth of the state of Massachusetts, correct?
Correct.
And indeed, the Commonwealth is no longer, if you will, an attracted client, but it's an actual client of Aperture and you, correct?
Correct.
And that's the status of the relationship here. Aperture is a client of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in this case, right?
Correct.
So is it fair to say that your CV, especially when it's published on a LinkedIn or published on a website, is something that is published to intend to have, especially if you're in the private sector, have clients view and retain your services? That's a hope and an expectation, correct?
Yes, that is part of it.
Now, when you look at that document, when you click on, if you were to be in your office, and let's see if you're familiar with this, you click on your LinkedIn on Aperture's page, that would ordinarily take you directly to your professional LinkedIn account, correct? Isn't that what the links are there for?
Yes, I would expect so.
Link's broken now.
Are you notified when someone electronically accesses your LinkedIn account?
Not accesses, no. Are you referring to viewing?
Yes, that's a better verb,
yeah.
Viewing. Yes.
Yes.
Is your phone
So you're
going
notified.
nuts right now? Notifications?
Were you notified within the last 72 hours that someone from the defense accessed your publicly available or viewed your publicly available LinkedIn account?
No, I was not aware.
Are you aware that within the last 72 hours that hyperlink on Aperture's official website was disabled?
No, I was not aware.
Are you aware that now if you try to go on that link that you can't, that it's disabled?
No, I'm not aware of that.
But
Do you know whether anyone from Aperture directed someone within Aperture to disable your LinkedIn account within the last 72 hours?
No, I'm not.
It's still out there. His account's out there.
Have you spoken to anybody at Aperture about your LinkedIn account?
No, I have not.
Mr. Leslie, it's there. You just go into LinkedIn and search for Shannon B. It says digital forensic expert, hardware hacker, mystery solver from the University of Alabama at Birmingham, Dallas, Fort Worth. It's talking about chip-offs.
Yep.
Education, University of Alabama at Birmingham, 2016 through 2018.
Okay, any objection?
I can just see it. It's
this one.
Yep. This one I presented to you. No objection.
Exhibit 185.
When we are done with those, or if I could ask those back to you, we can
Absolutely.
Your Honor, could I have the next one marked for identification at this point?
Yes.
Thank you.
Here's what I get while we listen to this. Well, he figures this out. Shannon B., digital forensics expert, hardware hacker, mystery solver. Down here in activity, experience, education, right there in the center of the screen.
WW. Thank you.
Shows Bachelor of Science, Applied Mathematics and Science Computation, 2016 through 2018. That's
May I present to the witness?
Yes.
Mr. Burgess, I presented to you what is marked as Exhibit WW for identification. I'd ask that you take a look at it, take a fair amount of time, and then if you could, sir, pick your head up so I could see that you're ready.
Sure.
the download CV on Aperture is still bad as well. I mean, it's the CV's got bad information.
Do you recognize that document, sir?
Yes, it appears to be a screenshot of my LinkedIn account.
Your Honor, I offer that into evidence.
We just looked at that. While he's looking at that, we're going to look at his download CV thing right here.
Can I see you at sidebar with these?
Yeah, do the sidebar because we're busy right now. Hang on. So here we are. Shannon Burgess, forensic expert for Aperture. This is when you download the CV for Aperture website. Education. BGS, Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics, Business Administration, University of Alabama. And what does this watermark say? Not for expert designation. Not for expert designation. Yeah, we're getting to that. Got his work experience. Did some stuff with drones when he was in school. Smartphone, computer hacking, forensics investigator. He's got Celebrite on there, Magnet, smartphone stuff, Cybertruck Challenge. He did the Cybertruck Challenge, where you try to break a window. Let's see, continuing education. He should list his bachelor's down here under continuing education because it's not done yet. Let's see, presentations. Publications. Here it is. Here's our publication. Forensic Methods for Dealing with Damaged ACM and ECM Components. International Compendium for Crash Research, Volume 12, Issue 2, 2018. He got published while in school? Is this like an assignment? He turned it in and they put it up on the website or something? Or are we talking about a peer-reviewed? I'm not sure if peer-reviewed. How many experts do you know that they'll be like, hey, I'm going to peer-review one of my student's paper and let's get that published. It's just a paper you can self-publish, published on print on demand, Amazon print on demand. It's published in Who's Who of America. Oh. It's like a Temu expert. There is a possibility of lawsuits if clients feel like they were misled. Oh, this is somewhere between associates and bachelors is when he got published back in 2018. 2018. They're at sidebar right now, talking about this. In the last 72 hours, the LinkedIn connection broke. Bye-bye. We're talking about this one right here. We're on Aperture, right? Let me show you what Aperture looks like. Let's see. Amber, it's really difficult to do that. It's the only problem, the way I've got things set up right now. So Aperture is a great company that lists their experts. Mr. Burgess is one of them. And it shows his education right here. LinkedIn does not work.
May I approach your
Yes.
Thank you. Burgess, I am presenting to you what has been marked as Exhibit WW for identification. That is that a fair and accurate representation of your personal LinkedIn page? If you could take a moment to take a look at it.
Sure.
Mr. Leslie, we know she has step back so all the jurors can see the
Yes, Your
pictures,
Honor,
please.
thank you.
He's like, I'd be happy to give the jurors a great view of this show. Oh, where's that whole schooling thing? Yeah, about that.
Yes, it does with a error on page 2 regarding education.
Right, and we're going to get to that.
Sure.
But this is you
what I
recognize this as a fair and accurate depiction of your personal LinkedIn page with the exception of what you just mentioned, correct?
Correct.
Did you draft that document that's represented as Exhibit WW?
I have drafted that over time, yes.
And when was the last time you viewed that document on your LinkedIn page?
I don't typically view the profile page, so it would have been, I could not tell you how long it's been.
Do you have any reason to believe that that Exhibit WW is not on your LinkedIn page online as we sit here today?
No, I don't.
Your Honor, I move Exhibit WW into evidence.
No objection.
Exhibit 186.
Thank you.
Mr. Alessi saying the quiet part in his head, and Your Honor, this is why we needed a Daubert here.
I would like to turn your attention to your personal, the printout of your personal LinkedIn page, and go right to the second page, bottom. And under education, it says University of Alabama at Birmingham. It's got a little UAB acronym there, and it says Bachelor of Science, paren, B period, S period, comma, Applied Mathematics and Scientific Computation, 2016-2018. Do you see that, sir?
Yes, I do.
That's not correct, is it?
No, it's not correct.
And you do not hold a BS in a Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics and Scientific Computation from the University of Alabama at Birmingham, do you?
I do not, and that would have been at that time an expected graduation date?
So it would be expected, you state.
Correct.
It would be another word for, another word currently pursuing? Is that similar to expecting?
Sure, that could be similar.
But you know how to put currently pursuing down, don't you, sir? Because you did it on the first few CVs, but you don't have it on your LinkedIn page. Am I correct?
Correct. That's probably because obviously that has not been updated in quite some time.
And you said you get notifications when people access your LinkedIn page, correct?
I get selective notifications when people view my LinkedIn page.
So you know people are looking at your LinkedIn page, you know people are looking at your education, and you have down here 2016 to 2018. So that time period is 7 years old from 2018, yet you use the 2016 to 2018 on your LinkedIn page, correct?
Correct. With the caveat that my understanding is people look at your post, not specifically the profile information.
Oh, so you believe you know apparently when people are looking at it and what they look at?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying generally.
Generally.
Correct.
What do you base that on?
But you don't know who's looking at the education section on your LinkedIn page and relying upon what is represented here, that you have a Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics and Scientific Computation from the University of Alabama at Birmingham.
Not from the LinkedIn page. Yeah, just independently of the LinkedIn page, yes.
And as you sit here today, that page is still live on your LinkedIn, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I'm on it.
So a key aspect of your credentials, whether or not you have obtained a Bachelor of Science, is incorrect in more than one document that I've presented here today, correct?
No, I would not agree with that.
Well, it's incorrect in this one, correct?
Correct.
And the one previously to that, there's two documents that have you listed. This LinkedIn, may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. So there's two documents, is there not, sir? There's, may I?
Sure.
Thank you. And my report, if I can have the previous one in evidence? So if you could hold that, this one, sir, and I'm going to take, if that's I could, from you, thank you.
I don't think you'll see.
And Exhibit 185,
show the aperture one.
That's in evidence, if you can turn to the second page.
Okay, that's the one.
So if you look at each of those state that you have a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Business Administration. So there are two documents about your credentials that are inaccurate, correct?
Yes, they have errors. Yes, that is correct.
May I have those back,
Sure.
sir?
Yep, both.
Yes.
Dang, typos in the same place. So hard to get things like that correct. Who just did that? Was that him?
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I have the next document marked for identification only at this point.
I think his watch has an alarm going off saying your heart rate is over 100 beats per minute and it does not appear you to be exercising.
Is it XX for ID?
You hand it to the witness, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you. Handing the witness Exhibit XX for identification. Do you recognize that document, sir?
So it appears to be a CV, yes.
You say it appears to be a CV. Can you describe that any further?
Yes, so it's a copy of my CV.
Is that a CV you prepared, sir?
It would have been prepared by myself or Aperture, yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the end.
Sorry, it would have been prepared by myself or Aperture, yes.
Yourself or Aperture?
Correct.
But you had, at a minimum, a role in preparing that, did you not?
More than likely, yes.
Yeah, and you would have reviewed that, because it's about you, before it would have been used by Aperture, correct?
More than likely, yes.
You wouldn't let somebody put a CV up and out to the public without you reviewing it, would you, sir?
So there are other staff members that do review and update CVs.
But you're the only one who's going to know whether what's on it is accurate or not, correct?
Unless I explain that to them, yes.
So either way, either you prepared it yourself or you interacted with somebody and explained it and collaborated with them to make sure it was right to the best of your ability, correct?
Correct.
If you can look at the highlighted portion, sir, under education.
There's no highlight. Well, I understand what you're talking about. There's no highlighted portion.
I'm sorry. Let's strike that. If you look under education, the first line, it says in the right underneath BGS. Do you see that, sir?
I do, yes.
And then to the right, it says Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, University of Alabama - Birmingham, Alabama, 2022. Did I read that correct?
Yes, you did.
Date.
And up in the upper left-hand corner, there's a photograph.
Yes, there is.
Is that you, sir, in the photograph?
Yes, it is.
And in the spelling of your name, Shannon, that's with one N, correct?
Correct, yes.
And so that is not only you in the photograph, that's the spelling of your name with one N, correct?
Correct.
And that's the correct spelling of your first name with one N, correct?
Yes, it
So
is.
that's definitely you represented in this document, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Now let's look at the first line that relates to education. It states Bachelors of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, correct?
That is what it states, yes.
And the date is 2022, correct?
Correct.
So this document represents that you received your Bachelor's of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration in 2022, correct?
That is what it states, but there are a number of errors in that, yes.
Correct. So let's go on. So this is the third example, am I correct, sir? Well, let me, may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I offer Exhibit XX into evidence.
No objection.
Okay.
How about you grab the Commonwealth's filing that has his resume attached that says CV attached when they applied to have him as an expert witness. It's got it in there too.
Sir, is Exhibit 187 a CV that is linked directly from Aperture's website?
I do not know. I would have to look and check that.
It is. I checked.
So as you sit here today, you are not able to state whether that CV is linked directly from Aperture's website?
Correct.
I can do it.
So this is a third example of a document that incorrectly states that you have a Bachelor of Science when you do not possess that degree, correct?
It has errors or outdated information, correct?
Well, when you say outdated,
like
how is it
degree
that you
expires.
can call a date outdated next to something that you don't possess?
I don't understand your question.
Well, you just used the phrase either incorrect or outdated. I'm trying to understand your statement that it's
outdated.
Sure. So
outdated. Isn't it either you have a Bachelor of Science degree or you don't? Isn't?
I have represented I do not have a bachelor's degree.
Right. But in here, it's represented that you do, correct?
Yes, it is an
All right.
error, yes.
So, let's look at what the name is that are on these documents. It says Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration. Do you see that, sir?
I do.
Are you aware that there's no degree at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, called the Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration?
Yes, I am. And that is one of the errors I identified.
So you would agree that there's not even a degree called Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration offered at the University of Alabama, correct?
Correct. That should be Bachelor of General Studies with minor in Mathematics and Business Administration.
And what you just articulated, you do not possess as you sit here today, correct?
That is correct.
What you possess is an associate's degree, correct?
Correct.
And when did you obtain that associate's degree?
So that would have been 2015.
General studies, and he's been working on his bachelor's ever since. Ever since.
Are you familiar with the term mendacity?
I am not.
You're about to be.
Are you familiar with a CV of 2015?
No, I'm not.
May I approach?
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
There it is. Judge has turned her chair to look nearly squarely at the witness.
Your Honor, may I have this marked as the next exhibit for identification, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
YYYD.
Thank you.
Maybe this was a power, like a four-dimensional chess move by Alessi. Fight the evidence.
You recognize that document, sir?
But really
No, I do
can't
not
wait to
recognize this
question.
document.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Sure.
Do you recall ever pursuing... may I stand here and ask some questions, Your Honor?
Okay.
Thank
Can
you.
he see the document as well, or do you have a copy for him?
He can see it as well, Your Honor.
Okay. I was just wondering the purpose.
Yeah, sure.
And just step back,
Yes,
Mr.
yep.
Leslie.
Sir,
Justice for Angela.
do you recall when you started pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree of any kind?
Sure, I do. Around 2008.
So you started pursuing a Bachelor of Science for the first time in 2008, correct?
Correct.
One class per semester?
If I did the math correctly, sir, you've been pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree for 17 years, correct?
That is correct.
And you have not obtained it as you sit here today.
That is correct.
And yet there are the various documents that we've seen that state that you have obtained the Bachelor of Science, correct?
Again, with errors or misinterpretation. Yes.
Errors or misinterpretation that are you stating, but you would agree those errors or misinterpretation have been in existence for some time, correct?
Yes, I'm being made aware of them now. Yes.
Yeah, and they haven't been corrected for some time, correct?
Correct.
You work for insurance companies, correct?
I do work for insurance companies in addition to law firms. Yes.
But you work for insurance companies, correct?
Yes, sometimes. Yes.
Well, you state that right in your report in this case, don't you, sir? That you work for insurance companies?
Again, I do work for insurance companies. Yes.
And what role do you play in working for insurance companies? You working for them, or are you working for the policyholders that have paid premiums or are making a claim to try to get money from an insurance company? Which role do you have?
Oh, brutal. Brutal, Alessi. Brutal.
So I work for the insurance company themselves.
And in your work for the insurance company, has any of that work related to denying claims to insurance?
Objection. Why don't I see you on this, Mr. Leslie?
Sure.
Okay, this is, oh my goodness. He's done insurance work based on this faulty premise of education. He's apparently, this is what Mr. Leslie is getting at, in my opinion. He got this job based on a false claim of an education. he's done work based on this false claim. We haven't even got to the published paper yet. I'm not even sure where that stands. And that work involves denying claims to people whose insurance refused to pay out. Mr. Alessi is basically pointing out a gaping hole of liability on the part of the insurance company. And Aperture. This could open floodgates of lawsuits. Floodgates.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
He gets to go
Are you
ahead.
familiar with the phrase academic dishonesty?
Yes, I am.
Let's talk about your work on this case.
He doesn't get to go where he wanted to with the insurance, but
In October of 2024, the Commonwealth hired you to perform a new data acquisition from the infotainment and telematics system of Ms. Reed's Lexus SUV, correct?
That is correct.
And in your October 10, 2024 report, you outlined a proposal for attempting to extract additional data from the telematics and infotainment modules, correct?
Correct. With the caveat, it's not a report, it is a proposed protocol.
So we'll call it a proposal. In that proposal, you explain why, in your opinion, you believed an additional data acquisition was necessary based on your, in your words, education, training, and background, correct?
That is correct.
And when you compared your proposal, you had access to the manufacturing specifications of the chips in question, correct?
I did.
You were under no critical deadlines to get the work done, correct?
Correct.
In your initial October 10, 2024 report, you explained that you believed the data acquisition was incomplete because, in your opinion, based on your education, again, your words, training, and experience, the download of the acquisition was less than the chip's storage capacity, correct?
this is the
That
bits,
is correct.
bits and bytes.
And converting megabytes, B-Y-T-E-S, to megabits, B-I-T-S, and gigabytes to gigabits is a basic digital forensic concept, and that concept's critical to successful data acquisition and analysis. Fair statement?
I would say that's a fair statement.
In your initial report, you stated that the December 2023 data acquisition was from the Spansion clip, S-P-A-N-S-I-O-N, from the infotainment model was incomplete because the acquisition was only 8 megabytes in size, even though the chip has a storage capacity of 64 megabytes, correct?
Eric Steele, welcome to the
Yes,
gallery.
that is correct.
And that's your October 10, 2024 report, correct?
Protocol.
I'm sorry, was it proposal or protocol?
Protocol.
Protocol?
It is a protocol.
We'll use protocol. And you blame this on the, quote, programmer's inability to fully read the component, close quote, correct?
Correct.
In point of fact, the manufacturing specifications establish that the total flash memory component of the chips in question is equal to 64 megabits, not 64 megabytes, correct?
That is correct.
64 megabits is 8 megabytes, correct?
That is correct.
That means the Spansion chip was not incomplete, correct?
Correct.
The acquisition was the same data size as the total memory storage capacity of the chip, correct?
Correct.
Your protocol for data acquisition was based on a misunderstanding of megabits versus megabytes, correct?
It was based on a working theory and a misinterpretation, yes.
And that was your misinterpretation.
Yes, it was.
You mentioned Ms. Gaffney in your direct testimony. Do you recall that, sir?
Yes, I do.
She successfully acquired 8 megabytes of data from that spanking chip during the December 2023 chip-off, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Sounds like a Super Bowl.
And that wasn't your only conversion mistake in your October 10, 2024 report, was it?
I'm not aware of any others.
You stated in your report that the data acquisition of the Micron JWB57 was incomplete because the acquisition was only 540 MB in size, but the storage capacity was 4 GB, and that's stated in your October 10, 2024 report, correct?
Protocol, yes, correct.
The Micron JWB57 chip is 4 gigabits flash memory component, not a 4 gigabyte flash memory component, as you incorrectly stated in your protocol.
That is correct.
So contrary to your assertion in the report, 4 gigabits is equal to 50 megabytes, which suggests that all the available data was successfully retrieved from this chip during the first acquisition by Ms. Gaffney, correct?
Correct.
So Ms. Gaffney was not in error on that. She did not make a mistake on that, correct?
Not on that specific thing, yes.
Right. It was you that simply misunderstood the difference between gigabits and gigabytes, correct?
Misinterpreted, I would not say misunderstood.
Something a few more years of school would have taught you.
Interpreted the difference between gigabits and gigabytes.
Correct, at that time.
You got that wrong in layperson's terms.
Correct, I did make an error.
To be fair, he's got like 17 years of education. I mean, this guy is not an
You
amateur.
stated in your report that Micron, and I'm going to have to give an alphanumeric number because I know in digital forensics it's important to be precise and accurate, so bear with me, sir. You stated in your report that the Micron 29F2G08 ABAEA is a 2 gigabyte chip, and that the acquisition should have been 2 gigabytes, but was incomplete because it was only 264 MB in size, correct?
That is correct.
And the Micron, and I'm just going to refer back to the number to not repeat it, the long alphanumeric number, is a 2 gigabit flash memory component, not a 2 gigabyte flash memory component, as you incorrectly stated in your protocol, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So 2 gigabytes is equal to 250 megabytes, correct?
Correct.
And that suggests that all available data was successfully retrieved during the first acquisition by Ms. Gaffney, correct?
From those chips, yes.
From those chips.
Correct.
I'm correct, right?
Yes.
Your opinion was again incorrect and was based on a misunderstanding of gigabits and gigabytes, correct?
A misinterpretation, correct.
A misinterpretation in layperson's terms. You got that wrong also.
It was an error, yes.
Did you have that protocol peer-reviewed, sir?
No, I did not.
Was it peer-reviewed by anybody at Aperture?
No, it was not.
Did you have a supervisor review that protocol before you filed it with the court?
No, sir.
You submitted your proposal based on your education, background, and experience, correct?
Correct.
Turns out that the entire foundation of your proposal was based on a fundamental misinterpretation of the difference between a computer bit and a computer byte, correct?
No, not the entire thing, no.
Well, certainly a part of it was, correct, sir?
Correct, partial.
You got conversions wrong with respect to analyzing 3 different chips, correct?
Correct.
And since you wrote that, have you learned the difference between a bit and a byte?
I've always known the difference between a bit and a byte, yes.
I bit off more than I can chew.
Case,
this is going to bite me in the ass.
The affidavit of an expert for the defense who pointed out those errors before you submitted your supplemental report. Isn't that correct?
I would have to go back and look at the timing on that. I believe I submitted the supplemental before the protocol from the other expert.
Are you certain of that?
I'm not certain of that.
Now I'm nervous about everything I'm seeing.
Isn't it the case that the expert for the defense submitted his affidavit before you submitted your supplemental report?
Objection.
Do you know that?
I do not know that.
You don't know one way or another?
Correct.
And that person that I've referred to for the defense is Matthew DeSogra. You know that name?
I do.
And you have read Mr. DeSogra's affidavit in this case, have you not, sir?
I have, yes.
And you would agree that he pointed out these misinterpretations of yours in his affidavit, correct?
Correct.
I would like to go back to your January 30th, 2025 report.
Is Aperture a publicly traded company?
May I have a moment, Your Honor, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ayden, you'd know this. Maybe Angela. Is it a private or public company? I'm curious about their stock price today. If it's public.
May I proceed, Your Honor? Yes. Thank you.
If it's private, I'm curious.
In your January
about their
30th,
clientele.
2025 report, you know which one I'm referring to, sir?
Yes, I do.
Am I correct that you indicated that at the time of this, quote, incident, Burla did not offer support for the infotainment and telematics modules removed from the Lexus, but have since released updated software according to similar modules that are supported by in-vehicle acquisition?
That is correct.
And the infotainment module that was removed from Ms. Reed's Lexus is consistent with the MMU, you know what I'm referring to in the MMU?
Right.
Is consistent with the MMU documented by Burla and has been identified as containing an internal micro SD card not acquired during the initial chip-off acquisition by Mrs. Gaffney. You remember that statement in the report, sir?
I do, yes.
You obtained no additional information from the chips that were already analyzed by Ms. Gaffney, did you?
Correct.
Correct that you obtained no additional information, right?
No data of value from those chips, yes.
No data of value. So all the data of value Ms. Gaffney had already obtained from those chips, correct?
That's kind of a confusing question. So there was no data of value from those chips to begin with.
Fair enough.
Right.
So Ms. Gaffney didn't miss anything of value.
Correct.
Fair?
Correct.
Do you know how much the Commonwealth has paid Aperture to date for doing the work in this case?
I do not.
Do you have any involvement at all in knowing what the contract is between Aperture and the Commonwealth?
I do not.
Have you ever had any discussions with any colleagues from Aperture with regard to how much Aperture has been paid in this case?
No, I have not.
Do you have an estimation as to how much Aperture has been paid in this case?
Not off the top of my head, I do not.
You've never had any discussion with anybody at Aperture about the fees Aperture has charged the Commonwealth in this case?
No, I have not.
Who in Aperture is in charge of knowing how much fees Aperture has charged the Commonwealth?
That would be the accounting department.
Who is it? Hold on.
Would Dr. Judson Welcher know?
Potentially.
So now we've laid the foundation to ask Dr. Welcher. Does Dr. Welcher know about your
analysis? I want to
issue?
move on to another category, sir. Your analysis in this case was not strictly limited to data in science, was it?
No, it was strictly limited to data in science.
The Commonwealth requested that you review numerous materials in connection with your analysis in this case, correct?
I did review materials, yes.
You did not review the January 29, 2022 CARS report by, well, let me put it this way. Did you review the January 29, 2022 CARS report prepared by Trooper Paul?
No, I did not.
Do you know what a CARS report is?
I do not.
Do you know that a CARS report was prepared by Trooper Paul for this case?
No, I do not.
If there was a
Trooper Paul.
collision analysis and reconstruction report prepared by a trooper in that case, would you want to see a document such as that?
No, not for my analysis.
Would somebody at Aperture want to see that document?
Objection.
I'll reword. Are you familiar with collision analysis and reconstruction reports prepared by law enforcement agencies?
I am vaguely familiar, yes.
Vaguely familiar? Have you ever used one in your analysis at all?
I have seen them, yes.
You've seen them. And my question is, seeing them, have you ever read any of them?
Yes, I have read them, yes.
Have you ever considered a collision analysis and reconstruction report as part of the work that you do at Aperture?
Not specifically a collision analysis report from law enforcement. We do routinely see crash reports, but I think what you're referring to is something else.
Are you aware of a supplemental collision analysis and reconstruction report of Trooper Paul of the Massachusetts State Police dated July 24, 2024?
No, I'm not.
Do you know whether Trooper Paul is part of the Massachusetts State Police reconstruction team?
I do not.
And lastly, do you know whether he's part of the reconstruction team in this case?
I do not.
Did anybody tell you to avoid reviewing a collision analysis and reconstruction report in this case?
No, they did not.
He nods.
You did, however, review the 2024 testimony of Trooper Nicholas Garino in the proceeding of last year, didn't you?
I did for specific data, yes.
So that's not really science and data, is it? It's testimony.
Yes, it is testimony.
So you did review materials in this case beyond science and data, correct? You reviewed testimony.
Sure, that is common, yes.
When did you watch testimony in this trial? Ask him that one.
Having reviewed Trooper Garino's testimony, you therefore are aware of the theory that he proposed in the first proceeding, correct? It was in his testimony?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
I'm not. So specifically, I reviewed Trooper Garino's testimony for information related to the infotainment and telematics modules.
So did you read all of the testimony?
No, I would have skimmed it.
You would have skimmed the testimony?
Correct.
And how would you, and what would be the purpose to just skim it?
Sure. So I'm only interested in the information related to the infotainment and telematics modules.
So you just, I want to make sure I have this right. So you would skim it, you would look for what you want to focus on, and you, as you sit here today, you don't have any recollection of what the theory of the Commonwealth was in the first proceeding?
Not from that testimony, no.
do you recall Trooper Garino as part of what you reviewed? So you reviewed certain things of Trooper Garino in his testimony, correct?
Correct.
And in your direct testimony, you testified extensively about the iPhone of John O'Keefe, correct?
Correct.
And you looked at and testified about a lot of information from the phone of John O'Keefe. Is that a fair statement?
Location data.
Location data. Did you read, therefore, Trooper Garino's claim that the last...
Objection.
So why don't I see it sidebar, find out what's going on, Mr. Leslie?
Sure.
Mr. Alessi says, I'm just going to give it a good old thorough cross-examination like you promised. This looks bad. This looks bad on the witness, and it looks bad on Aperture. What Mr. Alessi is trying to do is to try to make the jury forget about the data he testified to, because that looks bad on the defense. It looks bad on the defense. I really want Alessi to ask him about the timing of his latest report that was unsolicited, that he suddenly made this finding and a change in the timeline only after Ian Whiffen had testified. 14 days into the trial or something, we get this new report, unsolicited, offered to the prosecution. Hey, guess what? I found something. And it matches up now with Ian Whiffen. How did he know? How did he know what Ian Whiffen testified to? Unless he watched it. If he watched it, it's my understanding in this particular case, I know it's not normal, but in this particular case, experts are not allowed to listen in on other testimony. And the Commonwealth fought for that. They did not want experts to hear other testimony. And now one of their experts appears to, in my opinion, have listened to another expert's testimony and then changed their testimony and report to match it and to make it go fit together. Yes, he was qualified as an expert on the stand. Yes, the Commonwealth filed his resume with his education, including his bachelor's degree, with the court. It is in a Commonwealth filing, which, to my knowledge, has never been corrected by the Commonwealth, which means that this moment is yet again another mic drop moment for Alessi, where the Commonwealth did not anticipate this being an issue. Otherwise, they would have had to correct that. They can't let something improper like that stand before the court, especially in a filing that they've signed their name to. Man, the line of questioning Alessi came with, like, you do work for insurance companies. You deny people's claims. Based on your experience and education, you deny people's claims. And you don't have an education. Guess what that means? That means the insurance companies that hired your company possibly, I think this is where he was going, might be liable for a lawsuit. Maybe even a class action lawsuit. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Is this discredited enough to overcome what he testified to, though? It might get his evidence thrown out. If they can get it thrown out, and that's a huge thing. I mean, unringing a bell, but you might have to tell the jury to disregard the evidence. And the court would hate it. I mean, this is bad. This is bad.
Jurors, we're just waiting a minute for something before we can proceed. Feel free to stand up and stretch if you'd like. I'm trying to do this without having to step out of the courtroom and come back.
We don't want you to leave. The action's all here in the courtroom. I keep updating the Aperture website, hoping someone over there is paying attention and at least deleting a link to his resume. But it's still up. It's still up. Let's see, who else? Somebody with a W, right? The expert with a W. They have so many experts. Welcher. Accident reconstruction, Welcher. This guy has a PhD in biomedical engineering, master's in biomedical engineering, bachelor's in biomedical engineering.
Mr. Alessi, is there anything we can go to and come back? If there's not, there's not.
It would be a bit incongruous, Your Honor, but I can do it if Your Honor would like.
Do we have any idea how much longer it's going to be?
I will go check.
Greeners, this Weebly link. What am I looking at? Other than the GPA of 2.8 or 2.93, excuse me, 2.935 GPA. Wallace State Community College. Greeners, what is this?
Pardon me?
Is this his transcript?
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I will show this to Mr. Brennan first, and then if the court would like to see it, we've got another copy.
Thank you.
Mr. Brennan.
Sophomore's transcript, personal site. You got a C in microcomputer applications.
Yes.
Thank you.
According to this.
May I have this marked as the next exhibit for identification, please, Your Honor?
Yes.
No worries.
Apparently, nobody has any worries.
Yep. May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Sir, I'm handing you what has been marked as Exhibit ZZ for identification. Ask you to take a moment to look at it, please. When you've had a fair opportunity to look at it, if you could pick your head up, sir, and I'll proceed that time.
Katie.
Okay.
So I'm going to just ask one predicate question and then ask you another question.
Sure.
Does Exhibit ZZ contain, and if you just answer this yes or no, that would be great. Does it contain location, data, information? Objection.
I'll allow that without pursuing it.
That's the only one I have for that purpose.
Okay.
Does it, sir?
Yes, it does.
Did you consider this part of Trooper Garino's testimony in any review that you've done in this case?
No, I did not.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
On December, we're going to move on now to another topic, sir. On December 5th, 2024, Detective Lieutenant Brian Tully, you know that name, sir?
Yes, I do.
How do you know that name?
So he is the one who hand-delivered the infotainment and telematics module to our office in South Lake.
Exactly. So he delivered the infotainment module containing the SD card that you talked about on direct examination so that you could attempt to reinstall it in Miss Reed's vehicle for an in-vehicle acquisition attempt, correct?
That was part of it, yes.
That was part of it.
Correct.
That day you initially attempted an in-vehicle acquisition, meaning you reconnected the infotainment module to the faceplate in Miss Reed's vehicle and reinstalled both the infotainment and the telematics module for an in-vehicle unlock and acquisition, correct?
That was an attempt, yes, on December 7th, for clarification.
And that was on December 7th?
Correct.
And that was December 7th of 2024?
Correct.
You conducted this same testing on an exemplar vehicle, and to be clear, exemplar was a vehicle that Aperture had purchased?
Yes, that is a vehicle that Aperture has purchased.
So Aperture purchased it, and it's a vehicle, as I understand it, you testified, that's similar to the vehicle of Miss Reed, correct?
Correct.
And so you call it an exemplar because it's similar to the vehicle in question, correct?
Correct. Correct.
So I'm going to continue using your parlance of exemplar vehicle.
Sure.
And so you conducted this same testing on the exemplar vehicle and successfully reinstalled and tested the infotainment and telematics systems for an in-vehicle unlock and acquisition, correct?
For an in-vehicle acquisition, not for an unlock.
Okay, so for just an in-vehicle acquisition.
Correct.
I appreciate the correction, sir. Yep. But in this case, with Miss Reed's actual Lexus, you were unable to successfully reinstall and test the infotainment and telematics systems, correct?
Correct.
On Miss Reed's Lexus, you were able to get the infotainment backlight and faceplate to illuminate, but in your own words, the infotainment system did not respond as expected, correct?
Correct.
So instead, you took the micro SD card itself and attempted to retrieve data from that card directly, correct?
Correct.
Lexus locks cards in its system, correct?
It does, yes.
If Lexus thought it was appropriate to access those cards, do you know whether or not they would have them unlocked? Do you know?
I do not know.
Now,
I'm going to let the answers stand.
Sure. Thank you, Your Honor. I want to cover a basic question. Do you have any citation to any scientific literature where specifically what you did on this Lexus model has ever done before? Has it ever been done before, do you know?
No, not on this specific model, which is why we did the exemplar testing.
Right. So there's no scientific literature that states that the methodology that you used with this Lexus model is an appropriate methodology at all, correct?
There is literature that addresses the methodology in other ways, but not specific to this Lexus, correct?
There's no literature at all stating that the methodology that you used for this Lexus is the appropriate methodology to use for this Lexus model, correct?
There is no literature about this appropriate Lexis model, correct?
Let's talk about your initial report of January 30th of 2025. You issued your initial analysis and report on January 30th, 2025, correct?
Correct.
Your report included a general timeline analysis. You used that phrase, timeline analysis, that you stated could impact, quote, event reconstruction. Do I have that right? Your January 30th, 2025 report does not discuss a collision, does it?
No, not in my report, no.
As a matter of fact, your January 30th, 2025 report doesn't even use the word collision, does it?
Correct, because I'm looking at data from the infotainment and telematics module.
But the report of January 30th, 2025 does not even contain the word collision in it, correct?
I believe it does in the background portion, which would be on page 2 or 3, which would just be restating the, if you'd mind if I can look at my report?
Oh, please.
Sure.
Go ahead.
You better be in there. JVA, the bigger problem is that the Commonwealth.
No, so I apologize. The word that was used was incident.
Right.
Correct.
But you don't use the word collision at all in your January 30th, 2025 report.
That is correct.
I appreciate you checking that, sir.
Correct.
But you don't use the word collision at all in your January 30th, 2025 report.
That is correct.
I appreciate you checking that, sir.
The problem is the Commonwealth submitted to the court that he does
also,
have a degree.
and please keep your report handy, your January 30th, 2025 report does not in any way detail the timing of what you now call a text stream event at all, correct?
No, it does not.
So in your January 30th, 2025 report, you refer to it is an incident, and in your May 8th report, you refer to it as a text stream event, correct?
That would be referring to two different things.
Right, right. But did you use the parlance text stream event at all in your January 30th, 2025 report?
No, I did not.
But you're using it now, correct?
Correct.
And we're talking about the same event, right?
Correct.
In fact, your analysis and conclusions were limited in your January 30th, 2025 report to generally identifying a clock skew between Mr. O'Keefe's phone and Miss Reed's infotainment system, correct?
That is correct.
On January 30th, 2025, you engaged in no further analysis to determine whether precisely the 1162-2 text stream event that you now call it occurred, correct?
Correct.
Why not?
I was not asked to at that time. I was just asked to look at the general timeline and consistency of the timestamps.
So, back in January 30th, 2025, you were not asked to engage in analysis to determine when precisely the 1162-2 text stream event occurred. Is that fair?
That is fair, and that is based on the common concept that, a lot of cases that we work, there is clock skew, but we do not have events to precisely determine what that clock skew is.
Understood. So, wasn't your goal, however, on January 30th, 2025, to determine the correct timeline of events relative to this incident? Wasn't that your goal?
It was my goal to determine the data from the infotainment and telematics modules that were missed in the initial download and create a timeline and consistency of those timestamps.
So your goal was to create a timeline, correct?
Correct.
And that timeline, among other uses, was to be for your colleague, Dr. Judson Welcher, to use that in his analysis, correct?
That is correct.
So you knew not only what your purpose was, but you knew what your work was going to be used for by Dr. Welcher, your colleague, correct?
Well, I knew it was going to be provided, yes.
Well, you knew it was going to be provided. Have you ever talked to Judson Welcher, your colleague, about this case at all?
I have vaguely, yes.
How many times have you talked to him?
I would count a handful of times.
And just give me a general idea of the nature of the discussions between you and Dr. Welcher. You were both working on the same, quote, incident, right?
Sure, yes.
What would have been the nature of those discussions?
So those discussions would have been identifying what I found on the infotainment and telematics modules and discussing, explaining that data to Dr. Welcher.
So did Dr. Welcher ever tell you, your colleague, why he wanted to use that data for his purposes?
For reconstructing a timeline.
And for reconstructing a timeline and picking a time for what you now call a tech stream event, correct? You knew that's what he was doing.
Correct, for a timeline, yes.
Right, so you knew that for the 1162.2 tech stream event, he was going to use your analysis back in January of 2025 to try to pinpoint that tech stream event 1162.2, correct?
That is correct.
You knew that?
Yes.
And you know that he used that data to select a specific range for that tech stream 1162.2 tech stream event, correct?
I don't know if select would be the right. I understand what you're saying, yes.
What term would you use?
Sure. So based on the data, he's identifying the time approximately when that event would have occurred.
And that tech stream event, that 1162.2, is what Aperture is contending is a time of a collision. Is that correct?
That's sustained on that. Ask it differently, Mr. Nestor.
Do you know the purpose of the 1162.2 tech stream event in the analysis performed by your firm?
No, Dr. Welcher, I do not.
So you performed your analysis in all these timelines that you talked about on direct without knowing what Dr. Welcher was going to do with that data?
No, so sorry, I misspoke. So it would be to timeline the time and date, or to put a time and date with when that tech stream trigger would have occurred.
Exactly.
Right.
So you knew what the purpose was of your work. Correct. With regard to Dr. Welcher's work.
Correct.
And isn't Dr. Welcher's work on the 1162.1 and the 1162.2 tech stream event an important aspect of the work of Aperture in this case?
Yes, it is.
Did anybody from the Commonwealth ask you in your January 30th, 2025 report to not discuss your work in connection with the tech stream 1162.1 and the 1162.2 events?
No.
But you didn't discuss that, meaning the 1162.1 and 1162.2 events, in your first report in January 30th, did you?
That was not part of my report, correct.
But you did delve into that, and pretty heavily, in your May 8th report, correct?
Correct.
And you delved into that pretty heavily in the middle of this trial, correct?
Correct.
So after the trial, do you know the trial started around April 22nd in this case? Generally?
Yes, generally.
So let's do the timeline on this. January 30th.
Here we go.
2025, you prepare your initial report, correct?
Correct.
In that initial report, you mentioned nothing about text stream event 1162.1, correct?
Correct.
In that report, you mentioned nothing about text stream event 1162.2, correct?
Correct.
The trial starts April 22nd, correct?
Correct.
Roughly.
Generally.
No, the trial in this case, this trial, about April 22nd, after the trial starts and after witnesses, of course, are appearing, you prepare another report, correct?
Correct.
And that's your May 8th report.
Correct.
Right in the middle of this trial.
Correct.
Why did you do that?
And right in the middle of this trial, you enlarge the number for the 21 to 29 range. That's bigger than what it was in your first report, correct?
No, that is not correct.
Well, you changed the number, don't you?
No, I did not change the number.
Well, let's go back to see exactly what you did, sir.
Sure.
Let's start with the basics. You said on direct examination, sir, that you prepared your May 8th report on your own. Those were your words on your direct testimony, correct?
Correct.
I'm going to read the first line of your May 8th, 2025 report.
Okay.
Do you have it in front of you, sir?
I do, yes.
It starts, Dear Mr. Brennan. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Pursuant to your request. That's a request you're referring to of Mr. Brennan, correct?
Correct.
I have completed an additional analysis concerning the above referenced matter. To formulate opinions, the following additional items were reviewed. This wasn't done on your initiative. You put in writing you did it at the request of Mr. Brennan. Which is it?
So that was on my own initiative. This is a holdover, so a copy and paste from my original report.
You're explaining the May 8th report in your language pursuant to your request as a cut and paste from a previous report?
Yes, I am.
Do you cut and paste important information from one report to the other without checking it for accuracy?
I copy and paste certain portions.
Do you ever review what you cut and paste to see if it's accurate?
Other people's resumes?
You didn't review it this time, though, did you, sir?
No. I did not think it was significant.
Oh, you don't think it's significant, sir, that the matter is in the middle of a trial and there's a request for a new report after testimony has occurred in that trial? You don't think that's important?
Objection.
Sustained.
Why did you prepare the new report then?
Sure. So there was a claim from a PowerPoint presentation by Mr. DeSogra of trying to adjust clock syncs or making clock adjustments based on the synchronization of certain events. That was produced in March. Upon reviewing that, my initial thoughts were to address that in testimony. But as I was preparing for trial, I made the decision that it needed to be better addressed in a supplemental report.
But you understand that the report that you're referring to, that's the report of Mr. Soger, correct?
It is a presentation of Mr. DeSogra.
It's correct. A presentation. You understand his presentation merely was responding to the work that you did, correct?
No, that's not correct.
So your belief is that Mr. DeSoger's report didn't address at all what you had done?
Partially, yes, but no.
Okay, but let's cover the basics. You agree that Mr. DeSogra addressed, at least in part, the work that you had done?
He tried to address, yes.
Right. So do you know the date of Mr. DeSogra's report as March 5th? Does that sound right to you?
Yes, that's what
So
I said.
you had Mr. DeSogra's report that you claim was the basis for you on your own in the middle of this trial, creating and submitting a new report. You claim that the basis for that was Mr. DeSogra's report of March 5th of 2025.
That is correct.
You waited 2 months to do that?
Again, my initial thoughts were to address it on testimony.
It's not your thoughts. Just did you wait 2 months?
Just let him finish the answer.
My question, sir, finish it how you like.
Sure. So
2 months, was it 2 months between March 5th and when you submitted your report on May 8th? Was that 2 months?
yes, it is.
So, did you know when this trial was going to start, sir? Generally?
Yes.
Do you think it's fair to submit a report without anybody asking you in the middle of a trial?
Objection.
Sustained.
As we've been discussing, you issued a brand new report, in this case dated May 8th, 2025, correct?
Correct.
That changed your analysis, correct?
No, it did not change my analysis.
Were there changes to your analysis in it?
There were clarifications.
Clarifications.
Correct.
Let's address that. In your January 30th, 2025 report, you did not mention text stream event at all, did you?
No, I did not.
And you didn't mention collision at all, correct?
No, I did not.
And you mentioned both of those now in your May 8th, 2025 report, correct?
I don't know if I mentioned collision. I'd have to go to my report and look.
But you certainly do mention text stream events, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you labeled them 1162.1 and 1162.2, correct?
Correct.
That's a change from your first report, isn't it, sir?
No, it's not a change. It's a supplement.
Oh, so your definition is that when you add something to a report, it's not a change, it's a supplement?
That is what it is, yes.
Alessia's going to go for full mileage
Who
here
did
on
you
this.
speak to regarding the May 8th, 2025 report before you prepared it?
And no one before I prepared it.
So you just prepared it on your own?
I did.
Did you have any communications at all? I asked you who you spoke with, but did you have any communications at all with either Detective Lieutenant Tully or Buchanan?
So I did reach out to Tully to get a full set of the location data, yes.
So you reached out to Detective Tully before you prepared your May 8th report, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Did he tell you that the trial had started in this case?
No, not during that conversation, no.
That's not the first communication you had with Detective Tully, was it?
No, it's not.
How many conversations have you had with Detective Tully?
I would say a handful.
How much is a handful?
I would be speculating, but we'll say 5 to 10.
5 to 10?
Sure.
Is Detective Tully expert at all in digital forensics?
No.
But you've had 5 to 10 conversations with him?
Correct, to get provided information.
This is bad. This is bad.
At any time, has anybody from the Commonwealth had a discussion with you relative to your January 30th, 2025 report or your May 8th, 2025 report about keeping flexible the timelines for any events in this case?
No, sir.
No, sir. He nods. No, sir. All
Did you
behavior
have
analysts
any
are gonna go nuts on
discussions
this.
at all regarding the May 8th, 2025 report you prepared in the middle of this trial with anyone from the district attorney's office?
Yes.
When did you have those discussions?
That would have been on, probably May 7th when I reached out to Mr. Brennan.
So you reached out to Mr. Brennan on May 7th, 2025, correct?
Correct.
That's before May 8th of 2025, correct?
Correct.
Brennan's like, no.
So before you sent that report in, you had a discussion with Mr. Brennan about it, am I correct?
Correct.
What was that discussion about?
That was just a discussion over the data and what the report said.
So you were discussing with Mr. Brennan what was going to be in your report, including data and analysis, correct?
Correct.
Did you tell Mr. Brennan that you were going to be submitting the report shortly to him on May 8th?
Yes.
Did you agree to a time when you would submit that report?
No, I did not.
Did you tell him when you were going to submit it?
No, I did not.
But after the conversation on May 7th, you discussed with him that you had either pretty close to finalize the report. It's a pretty extensive report, right?
Correct.
So on May 7th, you were pretty well along the way in that report, correct?
Correct.
Did you let Mr. Brennan know that?
Yes.
So he knew the nature of the report. He knew how far along you were with it.
Correct.
Houston, we have a problem.
Did you have any other calls with anybody from the prosecution's office other than that about your May 8th report?
No, I don't believe so.
Do you have any texts with anybody about your May 8th report?
No.
Did you communicate with anybody else about your upcoming May 8th report?
No, I would have provided a copy to Dr. Welcher.
Your colleague?
Correct.
So Dr. Welcher knew you were working on this report, correct?
He knew I submitted the report. I don't know if he knew I was working on the report.
Did he know you were going to submit the report before you submitted it?
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Did he know what was going to be in the report?
Yes, he did.
Did he support the fact that you were going to submit a report in the middle of trial?
I can't speak for Dr. Welcher.
But he knew you were going to do it?
Correct.
Did he say anything, don't do that? Or did he have any comment about the fact you were going to submit it?
Not that I recall off the top of my head.
Not that you recall, so is it possible he did comment on whether you should submit it in the middle of trial?
No, he would not have commented on whether I should have submitted it or not.
How many times in your career, sir, have you submitted a supplemental or amended report in the middle of trial?
This would be the only one that I recall.
So this is the only time. How many years have you been doing this?
Approximately 10 years.
And so approximately 10 years, this
Since
is
I
the
graduated.
first time you've submitted a amended supplemental report in the middle of a trial.
A supplemental report, correct.
As you call it, a supplemental report in the middle of trial.
Correct.
Do you know a person by the name of Ian Whiffen?
Yes, I'm familiar with the name.
You say you're familiar with the name. Are you more than familiar with his name? Are you familiar with his work?
I'm familiar with his report in this case, yes.
So you're familiar with his work if you're familiar with his report, correct?
Correct.
His report in this case?
Were you given do you know that Mr. Whiffen has testified in this trial?
No, I do not.
Oh, that's important.
And with regard to Mr. Whiffen's report, did you read it?
Yes, I did read his report.
And that would be of interest to you correct? That's why you read it?
Correct.
Because Mr. Whiffin's report, and are we talking about Mr. Whiffin's January 2025 report or his March 2025 report? Are you aware there's two of them?
No, I'm not.
Do you know which one you're referring to?
That would be the January report.
So the January 2025 report, are you aware that there's just a couple minor differences between the two reports, or you're just not aware of it?
I'm not aware of either way.
Assume there's very minor differences with the reports. Mr. Whiffin's reports contain information and some detailed, they're long reports, right?
Yes, they are.
So Mr. Whiffin's report contains information about the cell phone of Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
Correct.
It contains information about the location data in Mr. O'Keefe's phone, correct?
Correct.
It contains information about the phone calls in Mr. O'Keefe's report, correct?
Correct.
It contains information about the temperature of the battery in the iPhone of Mr. O'Keefe, right?
Correct.
It has some timelines in that report, correct?
Correct.
And those timelines have very specific events that are represented in the data from Mr. O'Keefe's cell phone, correct?
Correct.
As a matter of fact, it's got location data and times that you have used in your report and PowerPoint presentation here, correct?
Correct.
Copy and paste.
When did you receive the report of Mr. Whiffin with regard to the cell phone of Mr. O'Keefe?
So I would have received his report sometime in January.
So 4 months ago, you had the report of Mr. Whiffin with substantial information about the types of databases you can find in the iPhone, location data, health data, phone calls, and a timeline, among other information, correct?
Correct.
You had all that information.
Correct.
And you had GPS location data in that report regarding Mr. O'Keefe's iPhone, correct?
Correct.
You know what an SQLite database is?
SQLite? Yes.
SQLite,
Yes.
And an SQLite database is one of the many databases that are contained within an iPhone, including Mr. O'Keefe's iPhone, correct?
Correct.
And you testified on your direct that you have general knowledge about cell phones, correct?
Correct.
And you say you've got certifications with regard to cell phones, correct?
Correct.
And your certifications include being able to read Celebrite and apply the Celebrite tool, correct?
Correct.
And you have certifications that allow you to apply and utilize magnet forensics, like, for example, their Axiom program, correct?
Correct.
And you've done that in your career. You've applied those tools before this case, correct?
Correct.
And you've applied those tools after your work in this case. You apply them pretty much frequently, correct?
Correct.
So the tools, the databases in an iPhone, and all the location data, etc., that was all information you had and you knew and had facile with back in January of 2025, correct?
Yeah,
correct.
And you had access to the SQLite database because you had Mr. Whiffin's report, correct?
Correct. I had the report, yes.
You had the report. Do you recall on your direct testimony saying that one of the reasons that you did this supplemental report on May 8th was you got new information or more information about Mr. O'Keefe's cell phone?
Yes, correct.
You had that information through Mr. Whiffin's report back in January of 2025, didn't you, sir?
Correct. I had the report. I did not have the data.
Well, didn't Mr. Whiffin's report discuss location in a pretty detailed manner?
Yes, it did.
And didn't he use GPS location data in that report?
Yes, he did.
And you had that in January 4 months ago, correct?
Correct.
And you read it 4 months ago.
Correct.
Yet you still submitted a report on May 8th in the middle of this trial, correct?
Correct.
Alessi is basically trying to prove that he was listening to Ian Whiffin's testimony.
Are you familiar with a digital forensic analyst named Jessica Hyde?
I am familiar with the name, yes.
Do you know she's working on this case on behalf of the Commonwealth?
Yes, I think I have heard that in conversations.
Have you read any of her reports?
No, I have not.
So you're aware she's working on the case, but you're not aware of whether she's issued reports in this case?
Correct.
So you're not aware whether she has issued reports that mention about GPS location data, correct?
Correct.
Did you ever ask for her reports?
No, I did not.
Did anybody ever tell you or comment to you whether your analysis is consistent or inconsistent with the reports of Mr. Whiffin or Ms. Hyde?
No.
Did you watch their testimony in this trial?
No, I did not.
Did you learn of their testimony in this trial?
No, I did not.
Did anyone from law enforcement or any other aspect of the Commonwealth provide you with any summary of their testimony?
No, they did not.
But you had access to Mr. Whiffin's report with regard to his analysis and the data from Mr. O'Keefe's cell phone back in January of 2025, correct?
Correct.
Having read Mr. Whiffin's January 2025 report, you know that his report contains statements about movement and other activity of Mr. O'Keefe's phone after your time period in your original report of January 30th, 2025, correct?
No, not after the time period, no.
Let's take a look at that.
Sure.
Let's take a look at your January 30th, 2025 report. Well, we'll come back to that. I'll do that in an order that makes a little bit more logical sense.
We're not finishing today.
You've mentioned, and just to cover the foundational parts, that you're not the only employee of Aperture that's been hired to testify as a witness on behalf of the Commonwealth in this trial, correct?
Correct.
Your colleague, Judson Welcher, Dr. Judson Welcher, has also been retained by the Commonwealth through Aperture, correct?
That is correct.
PhD,
Justin
master's,
Welcher,
and a
Dr.
bachelor's.
Welcher is a biomechanical engineer, correct?
Correct.
Do you know whether Dr. Welcher holds any professional certifications?
I do not know.
Does Dr. Welcher's expertise extend beyond your own?
It is a different discipline than my own, yes.
So it's a different discipline. So it could be horizontally extended, and it also can be vertically extended depending upon the subject matter?
Sure.
That's a fair statement?
Sure.
Your colleague, Dr. Welcher, who is an engineer, did opine on the timing of the text stream event 1162-2 in his report of January 30th, 2025, correct?
Objection.
Is this the objection sustained?
I'll reword it, Your Honor. Do you know whether Dr. Welcher
He's going to say no.
opined on the timing of text stream event 1162.2 in his January 30th, 225 report?
Yes.
So you do know.
Yes.
What is the timing
you're
of
killing
the
me.
text stream event 1162.2 in the January 30th report of Dr. Welcher, your colleague?
Objection.
So why don't I see you at sidebar?
Let's to see what was happening on sidebar. Sue in court reporting on the jurors' reactions says that some of the jurors are watching Mr. Alessi even while the witness is answering. Others are looking at the witness and shaking their heads and quietly, chuckling to some of the answers. Oh my goodness. This is terrible. This is professionally embarrassing for this witness, and it appears to be something of his own make, where it appears that his expected graduation date was counted as his actual graduation date, and then it at somewhere along the line, and it just grew and grew and became a fact that was accepted and not corrected. This Aperture has, I think they have like 118 experts listed on their website. He's one of 118. I'm surprised they have not made a correction already on their website. Full disclosure, I went in and pulled up my old LinkedIn account, which still exists. And I was surprised to see that I had updated it with my content creator status now. But my description of myself still matched my previous job employment. So it said that I hold a top secret SCI clearance, and that I am Security Plus certified, both of which were true but have expired. So I updated that today to say I held a top secret SCI clearance and I was Security Plus certified. I think that's a little different than saying
yes, thank you.
I was the President of the United States, what I never was.
Thank you for your patience, Mr. Burgess. You're aware that Dr. Welcher created a PowerPoint presentation with regard to his work in January of 2025, correct?
Correct.
Did you ever discuss that work with Dr. Welcher that he was doing?
No, I did not.
Did you ever review any of his work at any point, including up to the point where you're sitting on the stand today?
I have reviewed the slides that are included in Mr. DeSogra's presentation.
Okay. In the slides that are included in Mr. DeSogra's report include, those slides you're referring to are the slides of Dr. Welcher, your colleague, correct?
Correct.
And the slides that are in Mr. DeSogra's report about Dr. Welcher that slide discusses the 1162.2 text stream event, correct?
Correct.
So you have looked at, albeit through Mr. DeSogra, you have looked at the slide that Dr. Welcher had in his report regarding the text stream event 1162.2, correct?
Correct.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
My second box is almost empty.
May I have this marked as the next exhibit for identification, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
AAA for identification.
Okay.
Thank you. May I present it to the witness?
Yes.
Thank you. May I remain here for a few questions?
Sure.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Burgess, if
Yes.
you could take a look at what has been marked for identification is AAA, and tell me, once you've had a fair opportunity to look at it, whether you recognize that slide.
Yes, I do recognize that slide.
And, sir, what do you recognize that slide as?
So it is a slide that states a number of times associated with text stream event 1162.2, which would be the second event.
And did you consider this Exhibit AAA in your preparation of a response to Mr. DeSogra's March 5th, 2025 presentation?
Yes, I did.
I offer this into evidence, Your Honor, AAA for identification.
Okay.
I'd like to put the whole report in.
Your Honor, I have no need to put the report's 143 pages.
So I'm going to let this in, and I haven't decided yet about the whole 143 pages. Okay?
Fair enough, Your Honor. And I reoffer it into evidence, Your Honor.
Yes.
Exhibit 188.
Could someone provide me with that 143 page today, please?
Sorry, what were you asking for?
For a copy for me of that 143 pages before we leave today.
Before we leave, we'll get it, Your Honor.
Thank you.
One way or another. Thank you.
Yes.
You can, please.
Hold on, was it marked?
It was, it's 188.
What number?
188.
Thank you.
May I present it back to the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Sir, you now have what is in evidence as Exhibit 188 for identification. I draw your attention, and this is the slide that you considered in responding to Mr. DeSogra, correct?
In response to Mr. DeSogra's analysis of this slide, yes, correct.
And this slide, to be clear, is a slide prepared by your colleague at Aperture, Dr. Judson Welcher, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Sir, could you please read the time that Dr. Welcher states for the when infotainment trigger 1162.2 occurred?
So that would be text stream trigger, just for clarification, but yes, I can.
Well, let's go to that. You use the parlance text stream trigger. Dr. Welcher uses infotainment trigger, but it's 1162.2. You both use 1162.2, correct?
Correct, and I think that may be a misunderstanding of how he's worded it.
Well, Your Honor, I'd actually move to strike that about what Dr. Welcher. I'm just going to what the document says.
I'm just going to leave it, but go on.
Thank you, Your Honor. So the document says that the infotainment trigger 1162.2 occurred at approximately 12:31:38, correct?
Correct.
And that it ended at 12:31:43, correct?
Correct.
So we've got the trigger, according to Dr. Welcher, as of recently as January 30th, 2025, starting at 12:31:38 and ending at 12:31:43, correct?
Correct, according to the Lexus clock.
Right.
Yes.
So now let's go down to what says below. Per report from Ian Whiffen, O'Keefe's cell phone data showed, quote, most notably, all device lock events, including the final lock event at 12:32:09, were user initiated by the user pressing the side button briefly. You see that, sir?
I do.
And did I read that correctly?
You did, with the caveat, that's according to the iPhone clock.
Right, but in any event, that's what Dr. Welcher states on his slide, correct?
Correct.
Do you know, sir, that the iPhone data reported by Mr. Whiffen that you read, that Dr. Welcher references, do you know that report of Ian Whiffen says there was an end of a health event of 36 steps covering a distance of 84 feet that ended at 12:32:16, which is after 12:31:43?
Yes.
And you know that?
Yes, with the caveat those clocks have not been adjusted.
But you know that there was a end of health event of 36 steps covering a distance of 84 feet that ended at 12:32:16, which is after 12:31:43, correct?
Correct.
Just stating the comparison. So now what I'd like to do is to move on with regard to the analysis. So, and Dr. Welcher wrote this. The slide he presented is dated January 30th of 2025, correct?
It's not dated here.
It's not dated,
yes.
but do you know that Dr. Welcher created a report of January 30th, 2025?
I do know he created a report, correct.
Right, and that's the same date as your report, correct? Your
Correct.
first report.
Correct.
So you both submitted your reports on the same date. They're both dated the same at least, correct?
Yes, if they're both dated the same, yes.
Yes. Are you familiar with the concept of pocket state in iPhones?
I am familiar through Mr. Whiffen's report.
Okay. You said you've read Mr. Whiffen's report, correct?
Correct.
So you know that Mr. Whiffen states that there was a pocket state detected on the iPhone of Mr. O'Keefe at 12:33:14, correct?
Objection.
So the same, I'm going to strike it, do it the same way, Mr. Alessi, okay?
I will, Your Honor. Thank you. Are you aware of whether Mr. Whiffen has put in the report you read a timestamp for detecting pocket states of Mr. O'Keefe? Are you aware of that in the report at all?
I am aware of that in the report, yes.
Do you know when Mr. Whiffen has noted a pocket state detected of Mr. O'Keefe's phone? Do you know?
So, Mr. Alessi, why don't you show it to me?
That's what I was going to do. I will, Your Honor. And if we could put it up, we've got it. That's already in evidence on the screen.
Okay.
It's already in evidence in screen.
So are you talking about Mr. Whiffen's report? Or
Correct. Well, you know what? I'm going to show him the report, Your Honor. I'll do it the way you suggest. Sir, do you recall the specific time that Mr. Whiffen has stated pocket states detected for the phone of Mr. O'Keefe?
No, I have not.
If I showed you a report of Mr. Whiffen, might that refresh your recollection as to when Mr. Whiffen has stated pocket state detected? Would that help?
Yes.
Okay, sir, I'm going to endeavor to do that. If I can have a moment, Your Honor, I have it.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm enjoying it. I need popcorn. This is some of my favorite moments in trial. These heated exchanges back and forth, challenging expert witnesses or law enforcement.
I have it, Your Honor. If we could have a moment.
Part of the problem is Mr. Alessi is speaking without speakers in the courtroom. These microphones are just for our benefit and the court recorder's benefit. There are no speakers in court, so they can't hear how loud it sounds to us. And he's at the back of the room, walking back and forth, and he's just loud enough to be heard over the fan. And it's deafening to us sometimes.
I'm just going to go to the page so we can do this
The plane has entered the buffer zone. Morgan Larusik, I liked how you had it the first time. I know it was a typo in there, but I thought it was great. I liked it. It keeps me young at heart. I was about to click on it, and you pulled it back.
No, I'm saying this.
They're discussing things right here, which we don't get to hear. I wonder how the judge feels. Okay, here's what's going to happen. I think because of the testimony we've had from this witness today, from Shannon Burgess, there are going to be motions filed by the defense on the judge's desk tomorrow morning. And I don't know if they're going to be heard right away. But this witness, if I remember correctly, the way that Mr. Brennan announced this, there was just the report came out of the blue. He had no clue.
Got an agreement of sorts with Mr. Brennan. Could I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
They're going to be asking for something.
Mr. Burgess.
Yes.
I'm going to show you what are 2 pages out of the report of Mr. Whiffen that you referenced, and we've been discussing about pocket state.
Sure.
And this one here, if you just read this line because it's the heading, and then the next page, and tell me, sir, with reference to this entry right here, if that refreshes your recollection with regard to a column of pocket state with regard to the phone of Mr. and whether it refreshes your recollection on any comments Mr. Whiffen made about pocket state.
Objection.
I'm going to see it side by for 2 minutes. Okay.
The judge smiles. We thought we had an agreement. Oops. Feeling green, everybody. We thought we had an agreement, but apparently that's not exactly what Mr. Brennan was cool with. So, Mr. Unetti and Mr. Jackson feeling confident. Paul is gone. Paul's left. He left before the last sidebar, I believe, and has not returned. Angelo, I think what's going to happen is there's going to be either a sidebar or, I hope, an in-court, out of jury presence hearing where both sides get to address this issue and discuss what the problem is, if it is actually a problem, and if it is a problem, what the remedy would be. The agreement of sorts turned out to be that Mr. Brennan does not agree with what Mr. Alessi.
Jurors, this seems like a good place to wait. We thought maybe we'd get a few more minutes, but I understand that we should end for today. So, for the same cautions, please do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research.
Told you we're not going to finish today.
Into this case, if you happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case, please disregard it and let us know. And please be careful with your social media use. We will see you tomorrow morning. Thank you very much.
Be careful with your mics. Careful with your mics because they pick up the words like casserole really easily. Hot casserole mics is what we have. Let's see if the defense immediately jumps in and says, Your Honor, we need to talk about the elephant in the room. Here we go.
Jury's left the room.
All right. So are we all set, Mr. Alessi, on this issue and for each time that might occur?
Understood, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So we'll see you tomorrow.
That's it. That's it. We're done. We get nothing. We tease it out. We got nothing for each time this might occur. Yeah. Shannon Burgess has a problem, and it's a problem that keeps repeating itself. I don't know what the source of the problem is, but it looks bad. It looks like he was claiming a degree that he didn't have. And let me just put this out here. When your company that you get hired by, that you represent, that you're an expert for, and he's listed as for experts witness services, when they make your CV, they don't hire a private investigator to do it. They don't, send a sleuth out, somebody to tail you and track back everywhere you've lived and everywhere you've been and piece together. They ask you for the information, or they get it from your job application and they make a CV from that. Why they didn't do a little more, I don't know, groundwork on that, I don't know. But what we have is that Mr. Shannon Burgess's personal information, like his personal LinkedIn that he maintains himself, created and maintains himself, erroneously shows a degree from a school that he doesn't have that degree. He does not have it. It also doesn't exist. So there are two problems there. But it shows it as if he does, and it shows a date. And then we have his employment that also has a professional resume from his company that shows his graduation and a different date. And now we have to look at everything he's done with this company and how long he's been there. It's terrible. It's terrible for Aperture. It's terrible for Mr. Burgess. But this could have a ripple effect on decisions and work that he's performed and testimony he's given in court. I mean, look at this. Back up a little bit and say, where else has he testified? What other convictions have we have? Where has somebody suffered a financial loss at a decision of the court because of the testimony of this witness, which now could be demonstrated to a jury that they might not believe as they would if they thought that he was what he said he was. It has a huge effect. Honestly, I don't know how he goes on with the company in this position. There has to be some change there. First of all, the company needs to fix their website. I wouldn't be surprised if they, shortly after or during this trial, he disappears from the website, and they do some damage control. But could it lead to a mistrial? I would defer on that information to a lawyer that's got some experience on that specifically. Talk to Ian, talk to Emily D. Baker, Peter Tragos, the lawyer Rob from Law and Lumber. I think all of them are going to have a take on this. I think in some cases, yes, but it would have to be. It's not that he lied on his resume that makes it a mistrial. It would have to be found that Brennan knowingly misrepresented something to the court and didn't correct it. It would have to be something along those lines to be a mistrial, where you have something with prejudice and the case would be thrown out and never to be retried. As far as a mistrial and a do-over, that's a little easier to reach, where there's no prejudice, and they can come back and do it again. That's a little easier to reach, but I'm not sure if just a CV being inaccurate, even if it's done under oath and wrong and demonstrably wrong, I'm not sure if that's enough to make that happen. I think most of the remedy for this is probably going to be fairly localized to this information from Accenture. But our favorite Wisconsin is on the phone here. Just one second.
Call from
Mr. Ayden.
Ivan, how are you doing, my friend? Hey. I could hear you until I started talking. Now I don't hear anything.
You hear me?
Now I hear
How
you.
am I doing?
You're good.
All right. Yeah.
First, hang on.
I'm so glad I didn't miss today.
First of all, what's up with Bitcoin? Did it go up?
Well, Bitcoin is doing good. I mean, I told you the sale was ending weeks ago. Nobody listened to me. It's over 105,000. I said the sale was coming to an end, and it's back over 105. So life is good.
Had you listened to Ayden a couple weeks ago and invested in Bitcoin, you could have seen a similar gain on your investment as most people see in a year on their savings accounts. Okay.
Basically.
Right. Now that that's out of the way, congratulations, by the way. Yeah, what a day! What a day in court.
Yeah, I don't know how. I know you're on a little bit, and others in the chat as well. But if you go to the X trending topics,
okay,
you have Alessi, you have Karen Reed 2, you have Aperture. Okay, I don't know how many times Aperture has appeared in the trending topics of Twitter, but I'm venturing to guess never before. Okay, so
this is not a good.
There has to be a head on.
This is not a.
There has to be a head on the stick for them. There just has to be. Don't go further for you. Go on the actual trending tab, and if you go down, there's Alessi, there's Aperture, there's Karen Reed 2, it's everywhere. So, my opinion is they're going to need a head on the stick, right? Like after all this,
there are only 2,792 posts about Aperture that are trending right now, and the top one says, "Well, this is awkward," so oops.
Yeah.
The social media guy over there at least needs to.
Yeah, Alessi's got 5,500. So I'm sure everyone related to him is obviously connected as well. And Karen Reed 2 is the top of the. It's bad. I would just think that and so from what I've heard is that where it says on his company site where it says not for expert designation.
Yeah,
that's a recent watermark from what I've heard.
Okay, well, here's what I say. I believe that is just a formality where, like you say, this is not an official copy of your transcript. You can get an official copy.
No. From what I've heard is that didn't exist before all this started. Like that wasn't on there prior. That showed up after the fact.
The Commonwealth submitted that page without it prior to this, so it is different. I don't know if somebody can use the Wayback Machine or something and see when that changed. That would be awesome to find out. But if that's the only damage control Aperture has done, they need to check their lenses.
Well, that's just the start of it, right? To my opinion, to me, that's the immediate rubber stamp. Hold on, before we figure out what to do, let's make sure nobody calls about this guy. And I don't know, I figured I'd start taking so when he returns to Dallas, do we want to start taking bets on if his key card works? Do I put some?
Is there some way to bet on that? And I mean, you've done so well with Chinese basketball games and things like that. Is there some way to? It sounds bad to bet on someone else's job future, but man,
I don't know. I might have to open my own little book here, my own little Karen Reed prop bet book because holy smokes.
Yeah, I'm concerned. Anyway. I don't know how big a deal it was. Obviously, Mr. Alessi wanted to get into it when he says, didn't you do work for insurance companies and everything? After calling into question his background, his credentials, based on his the things he bases his decisions on. His training,
this is what
his
I have
education
to say.
and experience, and when you've got a big, huge gaping hole under the education part, but you've made the decisions. Now all the decisions get looked at from a different perspective, and someone's going to want a refund.
Just look at it this way. Anybody who still wants to go to bat and say, well, let's look at the data. Let's see what the data says. This is what I would say, and I put this in a super chat as well. So just imagine if this guy, you found out that you hurt yourself or you had an accident and you found out that this guy was who was assigned to deny your claim. How would you feel about that? And so now think of it from the perspective of Karen. She's not just facing a financial loss, she's facing the rest of her life in prison. Okay? So before you just want to look at the data, look at the work you did, just think of how you'd feel if you had that in the mix. Or if this guy was a contractor working in your house and he lied about his liability and you found that out halfway through, would you care how straight your shingles were and let him finish? No, you wouldn't. Nobody would. So
it's a problem. It's a problem. I don't know how the court can let expert testimony stand, but I think there's going to be a motion at the end of defense cross-examination of this witness, where they're going to say, "Look, Your Honor, based on everything we've heard, we've got here's what we think."
And here's my theory: Alessi could not be happier that the voir dire was was not
functionally
allowed.
what?
He could not. He was
functionally. It didn't happen. Yeah.
Just broke up there for a second.
Ivan.
It broke up.
Yeah, it was bad on my
He could not be happier that the voir dire was not allowed, because this just got to come out in open court. How much more effective is it? Like if this would have all been, figured out during the proffer, he would have not had near the impact. So he was just banking on Bev not allowing it just so he could get his dunk.
Okay, so this is what I was sort of hinting at earlier. I said maybe this was just next level chess, like 4-dimensional chess, where Alessi is focusing on the data, the minutia of the change, and making that's our big deal, knowing that the judge is going to allow it, so he could then walk in here and hit the home run with the guy's education being completely fraudulent.
Absolutely. Like, he was playing chess all along. That's my theory. He was playing chess with the whole process. So I'm going to go before I get the whole place shut down. So
you're so close.
Love you guys.
Love you, man. Thanks. We'll see you.
All right,
bye. I know this won't. I know this won't sit well with many of you, but I do have to look at this case and say, can two things be true at once? Because I'm a data guy. I love the numbers. I love working with computers, and having worked with computers, specifically with logs computers make. Wow, it looks bad. For Karen Reed. But then looking at the Commonwealth and looking at everything that's happened there, it looks pretty bad too.
From Angela.
Angela, for the mea culpa. We doubted you, but they delivered. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, and it's all right. It's all right. You didn't. No one had to apologize, because I knew people will come around eventually. Yeah. So everything is all right. So yeah.
Good.
And so I did go to I was like, okay, I may have am doing something wrong if I'm not finding him. So I went to librarian and checked my results. Mm-hmm. She came up the same results, nothing, nada, niente.
And you're talking about this witness has said he's published one paper, and we're having trouble finding that paper. Is that what you're referring to?
Yep, and any paper that he wrote.
Yeah.
Not one, any paper that he wrote. That is peer-reviewed. There are several papers that he wrote, but those are on obscure websites.
Have you ever heard of somebody who's pursuing a bachelor's degree having a peer-reviewed paper at that point in their career, or about that point in their matriculation? What's the proper term? Is that a thing?
Can I come back to you after I ask my professor?
Yeah, I'd love to know. I got a degree in something where I didn't have to do much writing. Okay, because that's one thing I don't like doing, is don't like writing huge papers. I've written a few big ones. I mean, the longest one, maybe 76 pages, something was the most I've done. And believe it or not, it was about the law. It was criminal justice. But it just seems strange that on a bachelor level class, someone has peer-reviewed work that's been published. That's it.
I doubt that it is peer-reviewed, because I haven't found in any database, and I have searched big ones and small ones.
It's chopping you up like a robot. Saying, I heard
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you said you doubt that it's peer-reviewed, but
yeah, because his name is not coming up anywhere. It does come up in Google Scholar, but we all know that's a not reliable database to look for peer-reviewed papers.
Yeah.
You look at those like JSTOR and ProQuest. ProQuest has like literally everything. If you can find it in like JSTOR, ProQuest has it.
Have you seen the Wallace State Community College paper that's going out online right now for Mr. Burgess? It appears to be like a transcript from Wallace State Community College for a Shannon Ray Burgess, and I'm trying to find exactly what the details. The dates match up with his education that we know so far. This one, it shows an overall GPA of 2.935.
That's in my face right now.
That's not good. That's not good.
No.
That's not. Oh, I was published. I was peer reviewed and published before I graduated. That's not that level.
My university, my university has a program. I don't know. I don't remember the name of the program. But as a bachelor, you can participate in research, ongoing research by that university has ongoing. But I don't think anyone but main people's names are on the paper. You're just like a participant / help background research / interview and stuff like that.
And the peer review is more on the line with a spell check as opposed to, like colleagues with years of professional work analyzing your work, your findings.
And ethics.
And ethics. Okay, there you go.
You remember? Yeah, ethics. You remember those ethics questions asked by Alessi? I'm guilty as charged because I sent those. I sent NIS and all those, or whatever the name of the. I am guilty as charged on that because when I first heard about, although I had Dr. Crosby in mind when I looked that up, not these two, but when because it's like the expert witnesses has to follow the same rules as researchers.
Yeah.
As to how you get the result and so on. And in order to get peer-reviewed, you have to follow these research ethics.
Yeah.
So and great question by Alessi. Oh, did anyone peer-reviewed your work at one of your coworkers? I think he said no at least. But yeah, that's good because if anyone did review it, I don't think they'll agree because he did break more than a few ethics rules.
Yeah.
I can send you the links if you want.
I honestly, this week is the hardest. Everyone's been sending me all sorts of links, and I have no time this week. I'm slammed. Like, I need to know all this stuff at the same time. I have no time to find it out. So I need Cliff Notes versions of everything. But
Cliff Notes version is you do in this case, quantitative research, because you have numbers, you have data, and you look only at quantitative research. It's the data. You do not look into witness reports. You don't look into other reports. What Jen McCabe said, or Proctor said, or whoever said. You look only at the data. And because Alessi did point out that he went back. He instead of doing a hypothesis, then doing the what's the name, the research or the experiment, or reading the data, then apply the data to the known formulas that we know, and see how the data fits. No, he went from I know he murdered him. Let's see how I can prove that murder. You don't do it. That's one of the ethical rules. You do not go back. You start at the beginning. You make a hypothesis and see if the end matches the hypothesis.
Yeah.
You don't go the other way. You don't go, which I love that Alessi pointed out. Oh, you assumed she murdered him, and then you went from there. You don't do that. You don't start backwards.
He did a good job of pointing that they worked backwards, saying match the pieces up first, and then correct your findings to make it fit. So anyway, Angela, thank you very much for that. Always good to hear you be proven right in court.
Yes,
that's wonderful. I just realized I'm published myself. I did write a paper that was reviewed by a doctorate in English, and it was published. It was a winning paper. It was a story, but it was a paper. I'm published.
Speaking of peer review,
I'm adding that to my CV.
A fact?
Yeah.
Can I just, speaking of peer review, so I went back to librarian earlier and I asked, how many months does it take? Because his paper was published like April 1st, the latest one that I found on Google Scholar. So I was thinking, okay, it was April 1st, so it takes time to be peer reviewed, So I was like, how many months does it, or a year, does it take to get peer reviews? It's 1 to 3 months. Not here.
That's print on demand speed. That's not peer review. So, yeah, it's crazy. Angela,
It's standard. Yeah.
I was just going to say thank you very much. We've got to wrap it up tonight. I appreciate you bringing this to our attention and sending me all the links. Thank you very much. Have yourself a fantastic evening. I know it's late for you over there. Thank you so much.
I hope you have too.
All right, we'll see you.
Bye.
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 I love her excitement, for this because her field is science. She loves that. And this just is wonderful.
Call from
AWOL.
AWOL, I know we cut you off short a little bit earlier. I want you to get your thoughts in. Thanks for calling back for that.
No.
How are you doing?
Oh, I didn't call in today.
Oh, never mind. It was Master Eden we cut off short. I apologize.
Yes,
AWOL, you're good.
That was him.
In that case, we've got to go. See you. No, just kidding. Now you're cut off.
This is short. This is going to be short anyway. Yeah. For anybody that thinks peer-reviewed papers are 100% always factually true and honest, I would just suggest Googling the Grievance Studies Affair 2017 to 2018. 3 journalists decided to write 20 absurd papers. Mm-hmm. They had them all peer-reviewed. 4 got put into journals after they were peer-reviewed and cited as the authors just to find out that the whole thing was a joke.
They
never did no research.
Awesome.
It became a huge scandal because they were like, wait, you peer-reviewed these authors' paper and you said it was factual and put it into like a science journal? That's embarrassing for the community, but it is a pay-to-play system.
Yeah.
If you know certain people in the academic world, your paper gets pushed up more. But Grievance Studies Affair, it's a nice read.
There you go. Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, no doubt. Be safe, Scott.
You too. Bye.
Later.
All right, we've got to go back. I know I've missed some marks here. No Drama Llama member for 17 months says, okay, I had a solo pub peer-reviewed as an undergrad. My niece has one as part of a research team. However, it's not that hard. Ivan making his comments about the article is probably written in crayon that was peer-reviewed. Melissa Kyer gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very much, Melissa. Been there, done that. It says, I knows why the link is broken on Aperture. It appears Shannon changed his username, thus breaking the link. Yes, he got rid of his last name, so it's just Shannon B, right? Ivan coming in with a bunch of super chats because Bitcoin's doing well today. Thank you, Ivan. We always like a good Bitcoin day. Katie Russin says he might want to update his LinkedIn. I think he's going to be looking for a job. I have a feeling it'll be perfect next time. Eric Steele, welcome to the gallery, my friend. Thank you very much. Mavia, I didn't know public executions were still a thing. There's blood on the floor in the courtroom in Canton. Kevin M, does he have a job still? As of right now. Kim R says there's no shame in schooling taking forever and a day. I know, I started late. The shame is making it look like you're completed the schooling that you haven't technically completed. Ivan Victor, everyone who rolled their eyes at Angela owes her an apology. Yes. Super T, member for 13 months. Back in my shiny new hip. Lost my mother-in-law last week. Oh, I'm sorry. Been a difficult month. Love you all. Super T, I'm sorry to hear that. I apologize. Congratulations on 13 months. Congratulations on the new hip. And my condolences on the loss. Sweet Magnolia, member for 13 months as well. Always a lurker, but love being here. Nikki Zeebs, member for 25 months. Another OG, yay, 25 months. Love and miss my addict fam bam. I had to be careful how I said that because you might add a D in there and suddenly it becomes different. Jen Pookie, member for 22 months. Another OG. Look at me, all OG and everything. 2 more months before I get a pink courthouse. Thank you. And then Lacey Spano, member for 19 months. Says, love being part of this amazing community. Love you all and feel so special to be here. We're close to 2 years. Woohoo! I think I got everybody there. If I didn't, I might have skipped somebody. I think I got you all. Thank you. Let's see. This is our battery's about today. I think I have the charger in here. I'm at 1%, but good to see y'all. There you go. This guy's LinkedIn says he's a mystery solver and a hardware hacker. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. Six-Foot Bus, nice to see you back with SVB on your name. I recognize you again from Chat Bailiff. Chargers among the cables. I have all the cables. I've got a handful of them over here. Scott is running out of goldfish. Check the next grocery list if he hacked it before you go. Says Dog Lover to Mrs. Uri. Quiet. Who is Lawyer You Know? Lawyer You Know is where we're doing a portal to right now. Peter Tragos. I've got a portal set up right now going to the Lawyer You Know. Peter Tragos. I've once he interviewed me. He got me on the show and it was amazing. He's a very smart, fabulous hair lawyer from Florida. Who's got a connection here to North Carolina. He loves the mountains of North Carolina on the western side, and has been doing LawTube since sort of LawTube was a thing from the get-go. So one of the pillars of LawTube, and has been following this case and has been doing recaps and is about to start one here in just a couple minutes. So we're going to portal down there and let you guys check in with him as we check out. So if you, I would recommend it because he's going to, first of all, he's going to talk about Ivan pays off the swear jar for the almost F-bomb on the call. Thank you, Ivan. He's gonna look at this from a legal perspective. So the ramifications, any possible sanctions that might come from testimony of these witnesses, if it differs from what's been said to the court and things like that, he's going to be looking at that. He's also going to be looking at how this puts egg on the Commonwealth's face a little bit. So I'm looking forward to hear what he has to say. I love his delivery. I love his system. It's very polished. I think his takes, I don't always agree with what he says, but they're very reasonable. And he is actually the reason why I started doing this, because Mrs. Ari never would have let me do this until I showed her Lawyer You Know and explained how the system works and how YouTube can be a career. So the Lawyer You Know is the Lawyer You Know channel. Peter Tragos and Chalupa. All you have to do is stay right here. As soon as our music ends and we fade to black on this live stream, you will have a little pop-up and it will move you right over to the Lawyer You Know. And his live stream starts in like 9 minutes. So we're going to wrap it up that way. Big shout out. Oh, Ian Runkle's going to be a hoot. Oh my goodness. Can't believe it. Yeah. She's like, you'll look like Peter Tragos? I'm in. Peter's a nice guy. Oh my goodness. Smart, fun, just same off camera as he's on. And just awesome guys. We're going to raid his live stream tonight. Hope you enjoy it. Do make sure when you land there, click the like button. And even if you're not staying, just put in a kind word for him. You might not agree with everything he says, but he'll tell you what he's thinking. And he'll stick to it. So it's going to be good. Tomorrow's going to be spicy as well because we start with cross-examination of the same witness. Shannon Burgess is still going to be on the stand tomorrow. So hang in there. Get here tomorrow early so you don't miss a thing. Tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe. Do we go live again tomorrow morning at 8:30, just 8:45-ish in that area, as we pick up on day 19 of the Karen Reed trial, part 2. Round 2. Part 1, round... Yeah. It's the second time. We'll see you guys. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.